On to this now. The Daily Maverick has been called a lot of things over the years. Intrepid, pioneering, tenacious. But now we can add mad as a hatter to the mix. The online news service this week announced that they were planning to release a weekend or a once-a-week newspaper. It comes at a time when a number of publications are closing their printing presses, not just in South Africa. We're seeing that trend across the world. Daily Maverick 168 will initially be available at Pick and Pay outlets. And aptly, the first edition digs deep, or will dig deep online, at least when they spoke about it, and they took a look at the Getty archives to highlight the life and history of newspapers. To find out more now, we're joined via Skype from Cape Town by the publication CEO, Styli Charalambous. Styli, thank you so much for joining us this morning. In terms of the reaction to the news this week of what you're planning, did most of them say, wait, what? You're planning to do what?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. But after that, we got a lot of great support and encouragement from people who are missing out on a quality weekend read and who are looking to get our journalism in a printed format. So lots of love, well wishes and support for the new project.
Now, lots of well wishes and support is one thing. I mean, I would love to have another great weekend newspaper to look forward to. But I know that I'm a romantic when it comes to holding that old school piece of print between your hands and taking a couple of days to work your way through the long reads especially. But this wouldn't have been a decision that you took overnight.
No, it's actually something, an idea we've been kicking around for the last couple of years, and a couple of things had to line up for us to be able to pull the trigger on this. We grew massively as an organization in the last couple of years, the last 2 years. The size of the organization almost doubled. So the breadth of content that we were putting out and creating increased. And then, it was a perfect outlet for the kind of journalism that we do. This long form analysis, investigations and opinions is kind of, leans towards the printed form. So, these things all kind of lined up. The opportunity came and, we hired the right people, and we've been working on this since the beginning of the year to make it a reality. We hired new people to manage and champion the project internally. We've been working with our distribution partners, Pick and Pay, and it's been a big effort. And even as COVID came through and the lockdown happened, we reevaluated all the strategies and the tactics around this, and it all held up. And we said, well, there's never going to be a great time to launch a paper. Might as well test it in the most difficult of times and see how it holds up.
Well, you certainly do have a taste for risk by the sounds of it. I mean, that's what people would have thought when you started the Daily Maverick. We've all heard the stories of what that startup team went through. People were sleeping on floors, under desks, and it was a really tiny team at the time. Now, you spoke about the people that you've hired the right people. You also, a lot of the people that you've hired, if I look at your contributors and your associate editors especially, are all people who are dyed-in-the-wool, old-school print hacks, and I use that term in a positive sense. What kind of learnings has your team taken from their experiences? I mean, I think immediately I'm old enough to remember when This Day came out, and it was a wonderful read as a newspaper, especially on weekends. There was another weekend newspaper as well that had a very short-lived time with us, unfortunately. What are the key learnings that you've taken from those newspaper experience in the not so long-term past in South African newspapers?
I think the key thing is here that we're coming at this as a very digital first publisher. So, the use of technology and data in order to make this a more efficient and better product for our readers. And we can see that in the process where we've opened up and we've allowed people to vote on the Pick and Pay stores that they would like us to launch with, and using that data to inform how many copies, get the email addresses of prospective readers, and then being able to survey those readers as we get the publications out, working with Pick and Pay to get data about our readers and their behaviors, their shopping behaviors, so that we can maybe approach the right advertisers. So really taking the learnings that we're using here is building a product and using product design methodologies to create a more efficient and better product for our readers.
It sounds like you have an interesting business model, especially involving a major retailer that you're doing this in partnership with. But from an advertising point of view, we know that is key, especially in the newspaper business. What kind of appetite are you hearing is out there in terms of advertising for a new print newspaper?
Yeah, well, April was the biggest shock month for newspaper advertising in this country's history. There was a massive decline, obviously, with a hard lockdown and advertisers not really sure what was going on. We're starting to see a lot of that coming back now. And the support is there. You know, we run a very lean operation, so our costs are a lot lower than a lot of the big traditional players. So we were able to run longer and be able to, you know, to make our budget stretch longer. But we are seeing good support from retailers, from financial services, and from our existing clients who already support us in the digital format and who believe that we can, you know, transfer that quality publication and read into the printed form.
Well, we can only wish you and your team everything of the best, and we look forward to getting our hands on that very first publication. That is the CEO of Daily Maverick, based in Cape Town, Styli Charalambous, joining us live there.